Now, the Republican congressman from New York, the border district there, Anthony DEsposito, who pushed an earlier effort to expel Santos from the House. Congressman, thanks for being on back here. You called for George Santos to be expelled. You going to put that resolution back on the floor again?
If it's necessary, I absolutely will. It seems like the chairman of the Ethics Committee is going to take care of that for us, and I'm glad to see that other members of the House of Representatives are now fully aware of what many of us New Yorkers already knew about George Santos, and that is that he's a complete fraud and lied his way to the House of Representatives.
They didn't make a recommendation, though. Does that fall short of the bar for you?
No, listen, I think that it's clear. I am confident that members of the House now that have read this ethics report are realizing that everything that us from Long Island and around New York have been talking about over the last few months about George Santos, that it wasn't just drama, that it was the truth, that he lied about so many things, that he's got some campaign finance issues and many other things that are now listed in that ethics report. I am confident that it is clear that he does not have the right to serve in one of our nation's oldest institutions. And more importantly, it's about time that the people of the 3rd Congressional District get proper representation.
So I just was given a statement here from Speaker Mike Johnson. It says, quote, as members from both parties, members of the Ethics Committee and Representative Santos return to Congress after the Thanksgiving break, Speaker Johnson encourages all involved to consider the best interests of the institution as this matter is addressed further. He's not saying you should expel him.
Yeah, I spoke to Speaker Johnson a little while ago, and I've spoken to other members of our conference from throughout the country. The Speaker made it clear. He said that we need to do what's in the best interest of the conference and, of course, our institution. But I think what is clear and what I've made it, crystal clear to the Speaker is that the people of the 3rd Congressional District need representation. This is an opportunity to give it to them. And if it leads to a special election, what we saw last Tuesday coming from Long Island and especially Nassau County under the leadership of Chairman Cairo, if that's any indicator of how we'll do in a special election, I think we're confident that we'll keep this district in a bright red fashion.
Just a quick one on this. Do you think he gets expelled?
I think if we get to the point where it comes to a vote, yes, he will be expelled. I will be surprised to see if we get to that vote and Mr. Santos makes a decision on his own.
All right. I want to ask you about where you are just down the road. The New York City Mayor, Eric Adams, today put forth a budget, and it says that there is going to be nearly $11 billion spent over the next 2 fiscal years in New York to deal with the humanitarian crisis there as it relates to asylum seekers. We saw at Eagle Pass, Texas, our NewsNation cameras catching, hundreds of people crossing the river there and coming on in. Who do you blame for this when you talk about $11 billion in New York over the next 2 years? Is it Secretary Mayorkas, President Biden, Eric Adams, who?
Yeah, I just put a tweet out a few minutes ago, and it's probably the first time in my career, both as a New York City detective and now as a member of Congress and an elected official, that I agree with Mayor Adams in the fact that this issue is going to destroy New York City and places just like it. And the people who are to blame, the only 2 people, are Secretary Mayorkas and President Biden. They completely have been derelict in their duties. They failed their oath. We had Mayorkas in front of the Homeland Security Committee yesterday. He couldn't answer any questions. He kept trying to squirm out of very direct questions. There's no plan in place. They think they have operational control of the border. And as we've seen from videos, from footage, and from people actually visiting the southern border, which is something that the president, the vice president, and the secretary failed to do, it is a disaster. And it is now every state is a border state, every city is a border city, and places like New York City are going to bear the brunt. And I mean, they announced today that they're not going to be able to hire New York City police officers moving forward because of the price that we're paying for the illegal migrants calling New York City home. So not only are they causing, the issues that we're seeing with crime, not only are we seeing people and drugs come into this country, but now they are at the hand of probably one of the largest defunding of the police that we've seen in a while.
Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.